We're up at Lennoxtown for the pre-match press conference for the Aberdeen game. We just watched the first 15 minutes of training. Rory, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it looked like a really good, light-hearted training session. It was nothing too tense, just taking it easy. Probably had a tough week at training and just ready to go for Sunday now.
Yeah, the players did seem quite a good mood. There was a quite relaxed atmosphere. The weather's good, so that makes a real difference, obviously. Noticeable absentees included Benkovic, which is a bit of a blow.
Yeah, no, I think that had he been fit enough to play, Benkovic would definitely have started in the centre defence beside Ayer. But I mean, the only thing is we've got Simonovic has been able to get some games under his belt recently. Would obviously rather play Benkovic, but Simonovic will be able to fill in there. So nothing too major.
Yeah, and Ollie Burke as well. I don't think Ollie Burke would have started, but as you pointed out, maybe the big pitch at Hampden would have been good later on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, personally, would much rather that we had French Eddie starting up front, but Ollie Burke can be useful, especially on the Hampden pitch. It's a big surface, so when it came to the latter stages of the game, then it would be he would have been a good asset to spread the game.
Okay, well, we'll bring you all the pre-match stuff from the press conference from Lennon and from the as yet unnamed player.
Scott, you broke into the team under the previous manager who placed a strong emphasis on playing the ball out from the back, and that's something that you personally excel at. Has there been any change in the way that the new manager has asked you to distribute the ball, or is it just a case of carrying on as usual on your part?
I think we try to carry on as usual. I think there's certain games where we want to be a little bit more safe in terms of when to play out. We played obviously Hearts at Tynecastle and Hibs at Easter Road, and we felt like we didn't want to invite any added pressure for the first 15-20 minutes of the game. But I think you can see that the way that we've played has been very successful for us. It's created us a number of opportunities in games and allowed us to control games. So we just look to keep going and keep adding to what was before.
In terms of from fans from the outside, you don't really appreciate the sort of work that might go in as you as players to creating, stuff like shape and how you work to play the ball from the back properly. How do you sort of coach being able to play like that, or is it as simple as you just being a little bit braver on the ball?
I think it's repetition. People knowing where they are on the pitch, where they should be, when certain players have the ball in a certain position. I don't think if you work on it that much, I don't see it as a risk. If I pass the ball to my own teammate, he gets the ball 100% of the time, whereas if I kick it up halfway line, it's a 50-50 straight away. So I think organisation wise was just repetition, making sure we knew where to be at certain times and where the free man was.
You spoke there about how last week we created a lot of chances against Livingston and what we deserved to win the game, but it seemed to be after the back of that there was a bit of reaction among some about how Celtic had been playing since you came in. But yesterday was actually an article published on the website Modern Football which analysed Scottish football, and they actually made the case that a lot of the underlying performances and stats under both your Celtic team and your Hibs team have actually been a lot better than they might be getting given credit for. Do you feel that sometimes you might, I don't want to say be harshly portrayed as a manager, but sometimes people don't fully appreciate the football that your sides are playing and take the performances along with the results?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get a knee-jerk reaction, emotional reaction straight after a game if it's the results not been what the fans wanted. But I have to look at the game in isolation and always look at attempts on goal, attempts on target, and possession. And if we were well ahead in that aspect, then the team's trying to do the right things. We're trying to entertain, we're trying to score goals, we're trying to play good football. Other teams aren't. They're out to stop you or they're out to barricade it, but I know which way I'd like to play. And I understand it's other teams' prerogatives to play that way, and it's the onus is on us to try and break them down. But I think going forward, the style of play that we play will only enhance us in the future, rather than getting 10 behind the ball and having a low block. Anyone could do that.
In terms of going forward in style of play, whether you're a manager or not, people have said that you're going to be involved in the recruitment process. Is that a case of recruiting players for that style of play, the football you play is be cliche, the Celtic way attacking football? Is it a case of recruiting players that can fit in and play that certain type of football?
Yeah, whether I'm the manager or not, yeah, we would like to be, more forceful in the final third with, pace and energy and people who can break the lines and people who can get beyond opposition defences. No question that, and people who can, score a lot of goals. But you have to remember, Bayo's out. He's ruptured his hamstring, so we've not seen any of him, at all since I haven't anyway. And Griff's been out for a concerted period of time, and there's a lot of goals in that kid. So we've missed that type of player. Odson's done a brilliant job. Delighted with him. So maybe that's a little reason why we're not, maybe as prolific in front of the goal, because we've got some important players out.
Just finally, one player that Celtic fans are getting excited about is Marian Shed, who's been performing very well out in Ukraine. Have you been tracking his performances? And he's been laying amongst the goals recently.
Yeah, I think he got Ukrainian Player of the Year as well, so I think we're all excited about him coming into the building. And again, he looks a very exciting prospect, so hopefully we'll get to see him soon.
Well, we're just out of the press conference with both Lennon and Scott Bain. Rory, what's your thoughts after that?
No, I thought it was a pretty good press conference as far as the pressers go. Scott Bain, for the player, he spoke very well. Seems like a pretty likeable guy, and he answered all of the questions well. So no, it was quite an interesting presser today.
Yeah, it was good to see. Scott Bain was also posed a couple of difficult questions by some of the press, and he handled them very well. Obviously, quite an intelligent young man. Focusing on the question that you asked him about playing it from the back, and obviously after some of Lennon's comments at the start when he first came in, people were worried that was going to stop the kind of playing it from the back aspect. But Bain was quite quick to kind of rubbish that and was keen to say that this is something that's continuing.
Yeah, I think as you said earlier, that any chat that Neil Lennon might all of a sudden revert to Route 1 football and rubbish all of the work that Celtic have been putting in the last couple of years to play this brand of football are a little bit premature. I think it's the case of muddying the waters between Lennon wanting Celtic to progress the ball up the pitch a bit quicker with the style in which he wants to do that. I think you can still play the ball out from the back, play the ball on the ground, and without you can play the ball forward quickly without having to launch it in the air. And I think one thing that goes unnoticed in what Scott Bain actually himself picked up on is the point behind why you do play the ball out from the back. I mean, he said, when I play the ball to one of my defenders' feet, there's a 100% chance basically that we're going to keep possession, short passes, you keep the ball. If I play the ball up the field, long ball, it's a 50% chance because a defender can go win the ball just as much as the attacker can. So I think that was quite interesting for him to point out, and it's clear that's the understanding of why Celtic look to do that.
A lot of treble chat for both of them as well, which was I suppose it's going to be incessant towards the end of the season, but both are again quite quick to kind of rubbish that off and say that it's not something they really think about. They're aware of it, but it's not something that they discuss or think about. How much do you believe that?
Well, they certainly did give off the impression that the treble is not a burden they're placing upon themselves, but I think they'd be lying if they said it wasn't in the back of their mind. I mean, you've got players in that squad like Kieran Tierney, Cal McGregor, James Forrest. They're people just like you or myself, but they have the fortune of playing for Celtic. The chance to be in the club's history books, I mean, it'd be something you'd be talking about forever as the first team to do a treble. So I think, at least if they're not talking about it now, in the dressing room before the cup final, should we make it, the chance to make history will certainly be something that's on all of their minds.
Been all over, I think it would everybody's mind, to be honest. It's been my mind for weeks beforehand. Yeah, a good day up here at Lennoxtown. The squad and the players seem in a good mood. Lennon updated us on injuries. It's only Ollie Buck that's a potential doubt for Sunday, so what we said earlier on is rubbish. So it'd be good I saw how much we know. Benkovic could still make it, which would be great. But apart from that, it's been a very good day up here. And
don't forget the big important news everyone's been waiting for. It's Vakunis if Bayo is injured.
Bayo is injured. That's sorry. That's
you've all been worried where he is.
Where
Bayo
he is
injured.
Bayo's injured. Lennon updated us on that. He's got a ruptured hamstring. Yeah. So hope you've all enjoyed our visit up to Lennoxtown.
A wee day out.
Thanks for listening.